keep on doing this, and I'll kind of explain things as we go.
Okay.
This is Zlatin, and he's named after a very good soccer player. Being a gringo, I don't play a lot of soccer or watch soccer, but he is very reactive to dogs on walks, and especially with his guardian, his female guardian, because I think he thinks that it's his job to protect her. So my mentor, Karen London, wrote a book, co-authored a book, I should say, called Feisty Fido, Solutions for the Leash Reactive Dog. He can go to dog daycare and get along with other dogs fine. It's only when he's on a walk, on the leash, around his guardian, or if he's off leash when another dog has one of his toys. So what we're doing now is a focus exercise. Now during this exercise, what we want to do is condition the dog to look at us in the face on command. Now, it's not natural for a dog to look at us in the face directly. A direct eye contact to a dog is considered a challenge. So if your dog is staring at another dog, he's kind of giving a warning. So if you catch Zlatin staring at another dog on a walk, we want to be able to snap him out of it, and this is a great way to do this. Now, a lot of trainers will teach this by holding a treat up here and getting the dog to look at us. I'm almost ready to do that with him because he is so aversive of giving eye contact. Is he like this all the time with you guys?
Yeah.
He is? Okay. So the guardians might not have even noticed, but we're getting one guardian saying yes. So he might be being respectful to try not to look us in the eye. So when we're doing this exercise, he's not doing it in a challenging way. We just want to teach him to look up at us. So the way I do this, I imagine there's a string going from between her eyes to between his eyes. There's a string there. So it goes right here. So as soon as he looks at her, she's going to raise her hand up to this point to hit the string, and then she's going to travel down the string to his mouth.
Focus.
And we don't want to stay focused until after the treat goes into the mouth, so we activate the pleasure receptors. Now when you're doing this, for you, her technique is better. We've been practicing this for a little while. But what I would do is when you hold it up, make sure that you can see the treat and his eyes at the same time as you're moving it down. So that'll keep you on point. And now for him, he doesn't have to be, he's giving eye darts. He's not giving a full head movement looking up. They're like right there.
Focus.
Perfect. So the idea when we're doing this at first, it's 1 second, 1 second. Eventually, when he starts looking up at us really easy and right away, then we go 1 second, 2 seconds on the second movement, and then say focus when we pop it in his mouth. And then the other guardian would do it. When I do this, I usually do about 8 to 15 of these treats in a sitting. And then ideally, we would like to have the dog sleep in between practices. Dogs file away what they learned while they sleep, so waiting for the dog to sleep and then practicing again will help him be better at it next time.
Focus.
So the idea is eventually the dog's looking up and we're elongating the period of time that he's looking at us. So now when we're on a walk, if we come across another dog and he sees the other dog and he kind of lowers his head and starts staring, that's a warning to the other dog. Well, you can just say now focus, get him to look up at you, and as you're walking, he's walking alongside you, you're going like this, holding the treat and taking 20 seconds to go down to him. This gives us the ability, if we do want to cross the street or something along those lines, to move away. But ideally, we want to create a situation where he thinks, you know, if I look up at the human, dogs only focus on one thing at a time. So I look up at the human, I'm not paying attention to the other dog. Now, I'm going to have her continue doing this. I'm going to explain the next step. Once we get to the point where he can do this for 20 seconds inside, are you out? There we go. You're loving this. You're getting all sorts of treats. Then we want to do it outside. Now, outside, there's a lot of distractions. So if, you mentioned there's a parking lot around. If there's a parking lot that's enclosed, you can't really see out of it. That would be a good place to do it, or a park where nobody's around, or a walk is fine. But when you're outside, there's a lot more stimulation. So you want to find a very quiet, settled place to practice this. And just sit down and do the same thing that we're doing here until he's good at that. Then when you're getting up to 20 seconds, focus.
Focus.
And then what we want to do is when we're out on a walk, every once in a while, when there's no other dogs around, I'm going to have you just continue watching him. You can watch this video later. But when you're on a walk and there's no dogs, there's no people around, there's no reason for him to react, every once in a while just say focus. He looks up at you. As you're walking and you're going like this, and then say focus. You want to get him accustomed to that motion while he's walking. You don't want to do it the first time when you see a dog, because then he starts to associate. When I see a dog, she asks me to focus, but that means there's a dog there. So we want to do this so that he's accustomed to looking up at us and realizing looking at him in the face just means I get a treat. Now, once we get to the point where he can do that consistently, we say focus, and he gives us his eyes the whole time. And he's not looking at us for a second and looking around. This is why we practice in a quiet environment, then on walks when there's nobody around, then walks when there's people around but no other dogs. We want to gradually increase the level of difficulty. Now, eventually what we want to do is we want to find like a park where there's a walking path. Now, I'm going to describe this while she's doing it. I'm going to imagine that right in between my arms here is my field of vision. I can see from here all the way to here, and the path goes in front of me. Now, over here, there's trees that kind of obscure my vision. Over here, there's trees that obscure my vision, or bushes, or whatever it is. So you're only going to see the dogs on the path for 20, 30 seconds as they're passing by you. Now, the idea for this is we want to be far enough away from the path that we can put him into a sit and he's comfortable staying in a sit while he sees these dogs walking. If he gets up every time he sees a dog, you're too close. Then what I want to do is, I can see through the trees over here, somebody's walking in this direction, and I can see through the trees somebody's about to appear with a dog. Well, then I wait. As soon as the person's about to come into view, I turn my vision to the dog who I have on this side. He could be on either side. And I'm watching the dog. It's kind of just the dog's farting around, and then he goes like this. He sees the other dog. As soon as he does that, I wait a count, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, and I say with a focus, and he looks up at me, and we do the focus exercise. We turn him away from the other dog. We keep on doing that. So you give him 1 or 2 seconds to look up at you on his own. He doesn't. He's going to look at the other dog. That's why we have to build a very strong focus command first. Eventually, after enough repetition, because he sees the other dog, and 2 seconds later you give him the focus command, after a while he's going to see the other dog and look up at you automatically. Karen calls this the autofocus. She calls it something else, but I call it the autofocus. As soon as that happens, you want to give the dog like 5 treats in a row. Focus, focus, focus. We want the dog going, what did I just do? Because I just got the jackpot of treats. That's actually what we call that, a jackpot. So what we want to do is we want to keep on practicing this exercise until 5 dogs in a row come along, and each time he sees the dog, instead of staring at the dog, he looks away and looks up at you. Once you've gotten to that point, the next step is to literally take 1 step closer to the path and repeat the process there. So you're just standing facing the path, he's sitting next to you on a leash, and then you're waiting for him, he sees another dog, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, he doesn't look up, focus, he looks up, and you give him the treat. You're going to gradually do this. This isn't going to be something you're going to do in one practice. This is going to take a lot of practice sessions. But eventually, you're going to get all the way to the point where the path is right here, and he sees a dog coming and looks up at you, and he's not paying any attention to the other dog. Now, a couple variables. The dog that's walking along is going to matter. If the dog walks by very casual, then it's going to be easy for him to look up. If that dog is like lunging and barking and doing circles, he's going to, just like us, that person's more, I got to keep my eye on that person. So if you have one dog that runs by like that and he reacts, it's probably more that other dog. The key for this exercise, though, is you cannot have the dog react. So if you take a step closer and the dog starts barking as soon as he sees another dog, or he gets up out of his sit, or he stops taking the treat, you move forward too quickly. So then go back 1 step and practice again. The whole idea is we want to practice this whole encounter without barking or reacting at all to them. Only then, and only when I got 5 of those in a row, do I take another step closer. So this might take a half an hour, 20 minutes each time, and it might take 25 times of doing this. So you're going to have to find a place where there's a nice walking path where, like I said, it's obscured vision, and you can get far enough away from the path where he feels comfortable. Now, do not do this in a place where there's going to be dog off leash that might run up unexpectedly. I mean, there's always a risk of that, but we want to try to keep it. We're in Los Angeles, so not a lot of dogs are off leash here. Well, I shouldn't say that, but you know what I'm saying. But the idea is eventually we're programming him. This is a form of counter conditioning, kind of. Now the counter conditioning I showed in the other video where we're chewing it and letting him look at the other dog approaching, that's trying to replace when a dog approaches you, you get a high value treat. And after enough repetition, he starts to think of, when those dogs approach me, I get a treat. Can we get more dogs coming along? This is a different one. This is teaching him to look away from the other dog, which can prevent the escalation from happening and allow you to redirect him. Now, one last thing, this is getting to be a long video, but Karen has one other option in it that I want to include. When we're in the walking in the meantime, if we run into another dog, well, that might cause a problem until we can get a strong, so don't use your focus until you've gotten to the point where it's very strong. Don't try to use it when other dogs are around, because then you're really gonna submarine yourself before you get a chance to get there. Once you get to, let's say you're in that process of still teaching, and you come across a dog that turns around the corner, is coming towards you, or it just comes out around the corner, you don't expect it. What you want to do is, Karen practices what she calls a U-turn. So when you're out walking and there's no other dogs around, have a treat in this hand. If you walk him on the left, I don't know which side he walks on, either side is fine. But every once in a while, just turn suddenly. When I turn, I hold the treat out here on my side, and I start walking the other way. As soon as the dog turns and going the other way, I pop the treat in their mouth and I say turn or you or whatever command word you want for that is. Then I take 4 or 5 steps that way and I repeat it, another, and I go back the original direction. So we do this at first when there's no other dogs around. But if you only do it when he sees another dog, I love how he's looking at you right now. But if you only do it when he sees another dog, then he's going to, when you turn, he's like, oh, there's another dog, that's scaring her, I'm going to be more reactive. So we practice and establish this behavior without other dogs around. Then if some dog comes around the corner and you're not expecting it, you just say turn and turn with him, and he turns with you because that's what he's been trained to do. So that's your plan B to use while you're training, conditioning your dog to not react to other dogs. So this is a way long video, but this is basically how I use the focus exercise and to redirect a dog's attention and teach them to look away from other dogs instead of reacting or being aggressive to them. Perfect.